Today, I'm going to interview the owner and tell the story behind this real Jaguar D Type. It was raced by Carroll Shelby, who is one of my icons along with Jeremy Clarkson. And I've been wanting to see a car that was driven or raced by him for so long. And today I actually get to interview the owner, the person who restored this car after it was missing for 50 years. I cannot believe I'm about to go for a ride in this thing. A real D Type on public roads. This is going to be unreal. So right here, I'm with the owner of this car. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Jeremy McChesney. I'm the owner of this D Type XKD 522.
So tell me the story on this car. How did you get it and why have you always wanted one?
So I inherited the car from a good friend who basically passed the torch to me to complete the restoration of the car. He had purchased the car in the early 1970s, but unfortunately had never gotten the chance to complete the restoration. And as far as D-types go, I have always loved the car. As a matter of fact, when I was in the 5th grade, I wrote a story about owning a D-type. And never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that I would actually one day have the opportunity to not only own the car, but to restore a D-type.
So hold on, you inherited this car?
Yes. And in passing, it sounds ridiculous, but I did. I inherited the car from a very good friend who was the caretaker of this car for more than 50 years.
So it wasn't your father or anyone related to you?
No, it was a friend. It was a
Okay.
very good friend of mine. And I think he recognized that I was going to do it right.
So tell me the story on this car. Where did it start life and what's its history from its very first day?
Sure. So only 2 D-types were built in red. So a very, very rare color for a Jaguar D-type. It started by an order from Charles Hornberg, who was the distributor for Jaguar in Los Angeles. And he wanted a red D-type for the Los Angeles Auto Show in 1955. And that show was going to be held the first week of December. Now, in order for Jaguar to complete the car, they had to get everything done and it shipped to New York. And that shipment to New York was done aboard the Queen Mary. So this car was put aboard the Queen Mary in Southampton, sent to New York. When it got to New York, they then flew the car from New York all the way to the airport in Burbank, California here, unloaded the car just in time for the beginning of the Los Angeles Auto Show.
Wow. So what happened to the car after that?
So after it was actually during the auto show, the car was taken to Palm Springs, where Charles Hornberg, the owner of the car, was able to race it. Now he had a race car driver ready for the car. His name was Ignacio Lozano. And Ignacio took the car out, but he was having problems with the handling, specifically in the rear. And so at that same time, there was another race car driver that was there at the races named Carroll Shelby. And Carroll said, hey, let me have a go at it. This was the first D-type to come to the West Coast of the United States and the first car to be raced on the West Coast of the United States. And so Carroll thought, you know what? I want to have a shot at it. He took the car out on December 4th, 1955. He also had problems with the handling. They had not had any time to prep the car for the race. They literally plucked it from the auto show, took it to the races.
And what was the experience like? Did he win?
No, he didn't. He DNF'd with the car because they were having difficulty with the rear end. And he did write that it was one of the hottest cars that he had driven up to this point in time. But unfortunately, they had no time to set the car up for the racetrack. They literally had plucked it from the show and brought it to the track.
Okay, so then what happened after that race?
So the car was brought back to the auto show. It completed its show there, and that's why it's done to a very, very high level. Jaguar built most of these cars to kind of a medium standard, but this car specifically, this was built to be a show car. And so Hornberg had it at his showroom on Sunset Boulevard. The following month, they had the opportunity to race the car at Torrey Pines, and this would be the last time Torrey Pines would have a car race. And a man by the name of Sherwood Johnston raced the car at the 6 hours of Torrey Pines. Unfortunately, he crashed the car during that event. Not bad, but just enough for him to be disqualified. He then raced the car the following Sunday, and he placed 4th overall, second in class with that. The month later, in February of 1956, Ignacio Lozano raced the car in Palm Springs, but had trouble with the clutch and with the rear end of the car, with the way it was holding to the track coming out of corners. The biggest difference between the racetracks in Europe and the racetracks in America was the road surface. The tracks here in the United States were rougher, they were shorter, they were tighter courses. In Europe, the tracks were very smooth and long, like Le Mans, like Reims, like the Nuremberg. And so this car was really engineered for the tracks of Europe. So coming here to America, it had its growing pains. And so it took a little bit of time to get through those pains, but they did. And another D Type, similar to this, won the 6 Hours of Torrey Pines in 1956.
So after it did all of its racing career, how did the car end up going missing for 50 years?
So it was on display in Charles Hornberg's showroom on Sunset Boulevard. During a remodel of that showroom, the car had been moved to their parts department on Santa Monica Boulevard. While it was at the parts department on Santa Monica Boulevard, that building had a fire. Now, the car wasn't destroyed in the fire, but it was pretty badly singed. And so the car was removed from there. But later, that building became the Troubadour, which is known for its rock and roll legends. People like Elton John, people like The Doors, Guns N' Roses, all got their start from that place. So that's the little rock and roll tie-in with this little red D Type. The car was then sold to a couple different people. A man named Ben Thrall, who was working for Hornberg, originally bought the car from him for very little money. And then he then brought the car up to a man named Ray Sayre, who is located in Reno, Nevada. Ray bought the car because he had another D Type. He had XKD 531. And so he had the car for a short period of time, and then two other gentlemen who decided that they were going to restore the car from its singed condition. They restored the car, got that completed in 1959, and from that point forward, it was then back on the racetrack. It raced at tracks such as Tracy, at Laguna Seca, at Cotty, at Vaca Valley, at Stead Air Force Base, and it was raced extensively through the Northern California and Reno areas. The car was later owned by Merle Brennan, who also raced it for a number of years, right up till 1963, when he sold the car to a man named Clyde Keeling. Clyde had the car for only a year. He'd raced it a few times, but unfortunately he crashed it. He bent this wheel up underneath the car, and he bent this wheel back underneath the car as well. And at that point in time, the car was just an old racing car. This was 1964. And so it was stored in a garage, and it languished there until 1971, when my good friend Tom Grosskreutz purchased the car. Now, after Tom purchased the car, he went to Jaguar, their wholesale on the East Coast in Long Island, and he bought all of the parts necessary to put this car back together again. So as we were restoring XKD 522, we were literally unwrapping new old stock parts to put back onto the car. Just absolutely the way you want to do a restoration, with new old stock parts.
And how long did it take you to restore it?
So we sent the bodywork to England in 2023. It went over, was done by James Smith at RS Panels and his buddy Tony. They did the bodywork on the car, and that took about 18 months or so for that to be completed. It came back here to me in bare aluminum. The engine and gearbox was done by Intrepid Racing up in Reno, Nevada. They did a fantastic job with the engine and gearbox. And then it was my job to mate all this stuff together. The car was painted in Corona, California, and we were able to get it all completed right before Pebble Beach last year.
And then ever since then, you've been driving it.
We've been driving it. We've been showing it at events. People love it. There's only 2 red D Types in the whole world, and to see one is kind of something special.
Wow, well, do you mind if we take it for a ride?
Sure, let's go.
So I'm now in the D Type, and I'm sitting on the floor, or in the toolbox.
In the toolbox is actually where you're sitting, yes.
I've got a little pad that we put in. So I have no windshield.
Nope, no windshield. You're going to be buffered pretty good.
Yeah, no headrest.
Yeah.
This is what, for the pit mechanic?
Yeah, do you want a pair of goggles?
Sure, yeah, actually that would be great. I've got goggles now. Here we go. gosh.
So you'll see that this is it's notchy.
All right. This is the craziest thing I've ever been in, I think. On the street.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I cannot believe we're actually doing this. Does it have cooling?
Yeah, but only at speed. So there's no fan in it. So it's important that we get up to speed as quickly as possible here.
Which we're in a bit of a not doing.
Traffic jam. Yeah, we're hitting the wrong time.
Yeah. You keep an eye on the temperature gauges very close. Wow. Feels surreal to be in a 1950s race car, just in traffic.
Just in traffic, yeah. There are two things that don't go well together: 50s race cars and traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Traffic.
But would they have driven this on the street back in the 50s?
Yeah, they would have. You would have had to have known where you were going, planned accordingly, because modern fans just weren't available back in the 50s. So it would have been a bit of an experience back then even.
Yeah. So crazy.
Can you feel like what I mean by race car?
Yeah. I mean, you definitely don't forget what you're in. I probably look crazy sitting in this thing.
It's a little scary.
It's probably,
it's worth it.
It's scary too because other people don't know the value. And they might not be aware of what this is.
They also will stare at it and then they kind of drive towards it, so that gets scary as well.
Yeah. I can't believe you drive this like once a week.
Well, I do. I just don't drive it when there's people around, but it's always good to have a car to keep it moving, keep fluids, to bring it up to temperature. That's all part of maintenance of one of these vehicles. You cannot let them set.
Yeah.
They have to be driven. Even for just, metered periods of time and distance, just make sure that you're bringing up the temperature and using them.
Does your wife ever ride in it?
Oh gosh, no. Just at shows. That's all she'll do. Just at shows.
I feel honored. I feel like Jay Leno getting to go in this thing.
consistent with its speed. So as long as you have that air going over the radiator, you're fine. It's just never meant to be in stop and go traffic. Traffic lights are not on racetracks. So
well, we're back. Oh my goodness.
back in the bat cave.
That was insane. Ooh, it's hot outside. And the car was not designed for traffic.
No, she's...
All right, now let me get out of this thing. Okay. Careful, because the exhaust is right there.
Yeah, yeah, you don't want a snake bite.
No. That was insane. All I can say is thank you.
Absolutely.
So you have the fan to cool the engine down?
Yeah, just for right here.
Wow. Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks
Glad you
for
enjoyed
having
it.
me. Yes.
Yeah, you got it.
And if people want to follow you, you're going to restore more cars in the future. Where can they follow you?
Yeah, so right now the Instagram page that's easiest to find me is XKD522. I go through pretty much the whole history of this car, and then obviously kind of maintenance and ownership as well, and kind of what it's like to own the car, drive the car, take it to shows. It's a really cool page. We talk a lot of technical jargon in there, how they built the car, how they engineered the car. So it's a really good page for people that want to learn about 1950s race cars, and more specifically, Jaguar D Types.
Yes, I mean, where else are you going to find a D Type ownership review online? There's nowhere else. So go follow them, check out your page. And if you want to be in a video, you can apply. The link is in the description. You can submit your car. Don't worry, it doesn't have to be a D Type. It can be whatever you like and whatever you drive. In the meantime, never quit your dreams. And remember, God loves you. See you in the next video.